Back to the daily grind, and y'all know we gotta talk about this. But before we do, make sure you hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic has made it clear that he does not fear the return of Brock Lesnar. Stipe Miocic says, yeah, I know he's a white boy and he's jacked, but I'm a white boy and I got some serious skill that pays the bills. So Brock Lesnar, bring it on over here, buddy, if you want some smoke. Now, we got to pump the brakes just a little bit because we were kind of getting blindsided when before Francis Ngannou fought Stipe Miocic. We weren't really considering when we were saying, oh, if Francis wins, maybe he fights Brock Lesnar next. That's a huge fight. Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight champion, versus Brock Lesnar. Nobody was stopping to think, how the fuck is Brock Lesnar going to get a title shot? Like, I know we all wanted to see Ngannou versus Lesnar, but it's like, did he really deserve a title shot? I mean, he fought Mark Hunt, got popped for steroids, it was overturned, went back to the WWE. So now if he makes a UFC return and gets an immediate title shot? We weren't thinking about that really when it came to Francis Ngannou. But now that's really, you know, I've had time to think about it. And it's like, wait. I would love to see Stipe versus Brock Lesnar. I just don't know if Brock Lesnar necessarily is going to get a title shot in his return to MMA. You know what that means? We might still get Brock Lesnar versus motherfucking Francis Ngannou. Yeah, because Brock Lesnar needs a #1 contender fight, and you know what happens after you lose in a title fight. You're still the #1 contender. You lost to the champion, but you didn't lose to any of the other contenders, so you're still right there. So maybe we still get to see Brock Lesnar versus Francis Ngannou, which is the fight we kind of wanted to see anyways. But either way, Stipe Miocic is going to be fighting Daniel Cormier, but he's saying, hey, if it was Brock Lesnar, I'd be down for that too. This is what Stipe Miocic, the current UFC heavyweight champion, had to say. Brock is a former champ and he knows how to bring it. He's tough, he's very strong, and he's beaten a lot of good guys, but I'm a bad matchup for him. I match up well with anyone. That has a lot to do with my coaches, teammates, my training, and I always have a good game plan walking in on the day of a fight. With Brock, I'd win, there's no question, but right now, all I care about is fighting DC. That's all I'm worried about. You know, we got Daniel Cormier that's going to be fighting Stipe Miocic in the champion versus champion super fight at UFC 226. And, you know, Stipe Miocic has to prepare himself for that fight. He can't overlook Daniel Cormier just because he's a light heavyweight coming up. Daniel Cormier used to fight at heavyweight, undefeated at heavyweight, became the light heavyweight champion. Now he's going back up to reclaim that. Hey, he didn't even not to reclaim the title, but to fight for the heavyweight title. That, just thinking about that UFC 226 Cormier versus Stipe Miocic is kind of giving me a little MMA-gasm in the back of my mind. But now, holy smokes, man, I'm gonna have to check my pants after this video, because now we got to talk about Brock Lesnar coming back to fucking MMA, possibly fighting Francis Ngannou, or even Stipe Miocic. Who do you guys got out of Brock and Stipe? I'm sure all of you are going to say Stipe, right? The thing about Brock Lesnar is, whenever he comes to MMA, he usually fights a fighter, or if he wants to succeed, it's going to have to be somebody that might be one-dimensional, or at least doesn't have a super strong wrestling game for mixed martial arts. Stipe Miocic is well-rounded. It's not like, you know, you're putting him against a striker where Mark Hunt, if he gets the takedown, will have some success keeping him down. If Brock Lesnar takes down Stipe Miocic, he's getting right back up. You know what I'm saying? You would assume Stipe Miocic is going to be able to get back up. For one, it's going to even be harder to get the takedown, and on the way in, Brock Lesnar can always get caught. So Stipe Miocic is a bad matchup for Brock Lesnar, but to be fair, Stipe Miocic is a bad matchup for any of these heavyweights, and Stipe Miocic is a bad man. He's the fucking heavyweight champion, defended the belt 3 times now, just broke the record, and he's about to be fighting one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in the world in Daniel Cormier. But I'll say this, if Daniel Cormier does fucking happen to muster a win over Stipe Miocic, he immediately becomes the greatest pound-for-pound fighter to ever live, because the only person to ever beat Daniel Cormier at 2 weight classes will have been a John Jones that popped for steroids. Undefeated at heavyweight, undefeated at light heavyweight, beat Stipe Miocic, beat Frank Mir, beat Roy Nelson, beat fucking Alexander Gustafsson, beat Rumble twice. You guys are going to have to put some respect on DC's name, but he's got a tough task ahead of him when he fights Stipe Miocic, the reigning baddest man on the planet. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about Brock Lesnar coming back to the UFC. Who do you think he's fighting? Do you want to see him fight Stipe Miocic for the title? Do you want to see him fight Francis Ngannou, even though we saw Francis Ngannou's last fight? I mean, if we saw Stipe versus Francis, would kind of be a shit show. It's like, okay, is he going to get a takedown first, or is he going to land a shot first? You know, either way, it's probably not going to be much of an actual fight. So, with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.